I've read every book by Dan John and have put his fitness teachings into practice with hundreds of clients over my 13 years as a personal trainer. And his catalog is required reading for anyone who wants practical yet powerful advice for reaching your goals. And while there are tons of great Dan John-isms we could talk about, today I want to share my top 3 lessons for coaches that I think are most important to keep in mind when working with any sort of fitness client. And hey, before we get to the list, if you want to learn from Dan John in person, he's actually headlining the Lift-A-Palooza weekend in Nashville, January 26th through 28th here in Nashville. Just be sure to hit the link in the description for your early bird ticket. Number 1 is constant assessment. The first step in getting to where you want to go is first knowing exactly where you are. Assessment is rarely fun because the whole point is identifying areas for improvement and the gaps in your current training plan. As Dan explains in his book Intervention, you only move forward by vigilantly and aggressively sorting out your weaknesses and your gaps and bring them up to some standard. True, compete with your strengths, but your ability to move ahead is all about dealing with your gaps. Now, there are tons of ways to assess an athlete, from the functional movement screen to the VO2 max test. Dan John lays out his 1, 2, 3, 4 assessment method in his book, Can You Go? It covers the basics, but also includes questions designed to open a dialogue with your clients. Things like, do you eat colorful vegetables? Or how many pillows does it take to sleep comfortably? Now, these conversations reveal 2 things. 1, insights into how our clients live outside the gym, and 2, how we can tailor our approach inside the gym. Prioritizing what to assess for each individual is a key aspect of coaching. If your client just wants to lose 20 pounds and you're testing his bench press max, your priorities are screwed up. Assessment isn't just to establish a starting point, it's also a tool to help keep us on track throughout the journey. And speaking of staying on track, that leads us to our next point. Number 2, keep the goal the goal. Now, we've all been there. You're a week into your diet, and suddenly you start to freak out that your strength might go down. Or you're on a bulk and you can't stand the thought of your 6-pack turning into a 4-pack. So you program hop and never give any plan the time it needs to actually work. You can have it all, just not all at the same time. As a coach, you'll need to constantly remind your clients what their goals actually are and what it's going to take to achieve them. Now, if you're constantly assessing and keeping the goal, there's only one thing to not do to ensure success. Number 3, don't make me look stupid. In a podcast conversation with Dan, he issued this challenge to young personal trainers.
So I have a 60-pound weight vest, and I encourage young personal trainers to do their bullshit workouts wearing that thing. And then next time an obese client comes in, remember how they felt with that extra 60 pounds.
Every client should feel like they're winning from the second they step in the gym. This doesn't mean that you coddle them, but rather challenge them appropriately with progressions, regressions, and just the right cues to help keep them in the flow state, above boredom and below anxiety. And that is the sweet spot for progress, motivation, and mastery. Thanks for watching, and if you're a fitness coach yourself, check out the first link in the description to take your skills and business to the next level.